lots of speakers, and we'll be taking away a lot of learning from this couple of days. As already mentioned, my name is Jacquie Richardson. I'm the Chief Executive of Positive Life. We're the only organisation in Northern Ireland who are dedicated specifically to working for people living with HIV. And in the interests of my full disclosures, what I will say to you is that I kind of feel this is a safe space as a sexual health conference. So I'm going to let you know that as a menopausal woman, I am reading from my notes, because if I don't, goodness knows I could be telling you about last year's holiday by the time I get to the So this is to keep me focused. So thank you for your indulgence. So a wee bit about Positive Life then. We're a small team of 5, and we work on a Northern Ireland reach, working hard to ensure the well-being of people affected by and living with an HIV diagnosis. And a huge part of our work is to remove the stigma that unfortunately is still so prevalent in Northern Ireland. Over recent years, and integral to the development of our own plan and as an organisation, is the World Health Organization target for 0 new diagnoses by 2030. We want to see a Northern Ireland where HIV attracts no more and no less significance than any other long-term condition. And we do this through 4 main areas of work: raising awareness to reduce stigma, and we work to educate and challenge the myths that surround HIV. We engage with service users and advocate to ensure that they have a voice as far as possible in policy development, and we campaign to reduce the barriers and challenge and remove discriminatory practice. So that's kind of us in a nutshell, if you like. And I'm going to use the next few minutes just to give you our view from a community organisation's point of view about where we are in terms of HIV in Northern Ireland. So a wee bit about the numbers first, just to give you some context. So we have a population of 1.8 million people, and there are around 1,325 people living with an HIV diagnosis. We had 76 new cases diagnosed in 2021, and unfortunately that was a 12% increase on the 2020 figures. That was really disappointing, because for the couple of years before that we had seen a slow decrease in new diagnoses. 2021 surveillance report also showed us that relative to UN targets 95, 94% of people living with HIV in Northern Ireland are aware of their diagnosis. 100% of those in care received ART, and 97% of those on treatment have viral suppression. Among the headline stats, though, and most worrying for us as an organisation, is the fact that 33% of new diagnosis was at a late stage, and along with continuing increasing new diagnoses, that of course is a concern for us, particularly whenever we're trying to and banging on about 2030 targets. So of course in Northern Ireland also we have political context that unfortunately we can't get away from no matter where we go. And as much as we lobby, we can't avoid the fact that we have had no functioning executive in Northern Ireland now for over a year. We haven't had a sexual health strategy, I'm so jealous, since 2015, and we've had no specific HIV action plan. The Department of Health has committed only to achieving WHO targets at the earliest possible date. I don't even really know what that means, but that's what we're living with. Since 2022, since the 2022 Assembly election, the DUP have refused to enter the power sharing executive over their concerns regarding the Northern Ireland Protocol. I resist the temptation to comment on that. Devolved departments are being run by our permanent secretaries with oversight by the head of the Civil Service, Jane Brady. But there's no significant cross-cutting policy issues such as a sexual health action plan able to be agreed without a minister in post to do that. So we have though made some progress some folk may be aware of the decision by the Secretary of State to publish new regulations around RSE in Northern Ireland, and that is a positive change. That being said, the change is slow in relation to HIV, slow to the point where we as an organisation feel that it's a significant failure to support and uphold the well-being of our service users. But there is also some positive news. I'm pleased to say that more recently, over the last 2 to 3 months, we have started to work in collaboration with the Public Health Agency to explore joining the HIV Fast Track Cities initiative. We're doing that alongside our clinicians and people working in our GUM services, alongside other interested organisations who also represent people living with HIV. Some of the conversations that we've been having are around multi-city versus regional. We're very small, and we kind of, you have to wonder, do we need all of these cities signing up, and would it be better for us just to approach it as a region? We're building, Positive Life, we're building on our existing good relationships with some of the local elected representatives and some of our councils, and leading on discussions with those representatives. And we hope to take learning from conference, as I said, as well, to kind of inform some of those discussions and some of those decisions that are made. We're also hoping to get a better understanding around public knowledge around HIV and stigma as well. The 2023 Northern Ireland Health Survey is going to, for the first time, include some questions around public knowledge on, for example, issues regarding U=U and PrEP, and hopefully attitudes as well to HIV, and that will give us a key understanding and inform how we move that forward and identify where the gaps are. Additionally, whilst we don't have a functioning executive, we have some very good committed civil servants who are working away in the background and have begun to draft a new sexual health action plan, which aims to provide a clear set of priorities for sexual health improvement. And here too, we're really chuffed to be able to be part of that process and to be able to contribute to that. The current draft HIV strategic objective strives to eliminate new diagnosis at the earliest possible date, wink wink, and support people living with HIV to live well. Under the objective, key priorities for the action include evaluation of current access to treatment and support, exploring the Fast Track Cities initiative, minimisation of late HIV diagnosis, tackling issues associated with increased HIV rate in people who inject drugs. And for us in Northern Ireland, that's relatively new. That hasn't been an issue for us until, I would say, probably the last couple of years. So there's a huge learning curve for us there as an organisation as well. Addressing public awareness of HIV and the associated stigma that still exists, so unfortunately, is very real for our service users. An identification of shortfalls in professional communications and understanding. And so we do really welcome the fact that that's ongoing. However, as I said, that will just sit as a document gathering dust until we have a functioning executive and a minister who's willing to sign that off. As an organisation, we've also been kind of preparing for the return of our, hopefully, the return of our executive. And we have done some work doing an MLA panel survey, asking questions around and hoping to get an understanding of what MLA's views are in terms of sexual health broadly. We did this just at the beginning of the year, and we had a 33% return, which was really disappointing because you have to ask what else were they doing. But anyway, 33% of our MLAs did respond to the questionnaire, and 4 in 5 agreed that the Department of Health should introduce a sexual health strategy. So there's hope in that. 79% agreed that any new strategy should include a commitment to the WHO targets. 96% agree that the Department of Health should ensure that healthcare practitioners and HIV understand HIV and the role that they play in removing the stigma. And that's really important, and that's feedback that we get from our service users as well, is that in general terms, healthcare professionals don't have an understanding unless they're specifically working in the gun clinics and in that area. 81% of our MLAs agreed that information regarding HIV should be included within RSE in all post-primary schools. And for us, that's a really important starting point for reducing stigma and transmission. 81% of MLAs agreed that there should be investment in our awareness raising campaigns and to inform public around transmission and the impact of stigma and also around prevention. So out of that survey, we took some hope. So if we can get them back to work, who knows? It sounds like we could do really great things. So for our part, we'll keep pushing as an organisation, and without prejudice to the drafting process, we'll be advocating for the following actions as outlined there on the screen for you. We want to see fully funded RSE. That's really important, and it's an important piece of that overall strategy. We want to see more public awareness campaigns. We want to see mandatory training on HIV and sexual health for the entire healthcare workforce. And we want to see implementation of opt-out HIV testing across healthcare settings. But if we want to meet these ambitious targets, and to pick up also on what Liz was saying, we do need strategies. We need those in place. We need a department who is willing to get behind, to invest rather than fund, but to invest in the work we're doing. This is long term, and they need to be in it for the long term. In May, the Department of Health cut our core grant funding, and that essentially takes away our ability to be a voice for people living with HIV. As the only organisation in Northern Ireland dedicated to this piece of work, that disproportionately and directly affects people living with or affected by HIV in Northern Ireland. We'll be highlighting that it's crucial that delivery partners, including ourselves, but others as well, receive appropriate investment. How else are we going to be able to contribute to the delivery and the development of these strategies? And it needs to be structured, and it needs to be for the long term. There's no point in giving us the historical 1 year, year on year, go back and apply for it again in October funding if they're developing a 3-year action plan. So for the benefit of people living with HIV or affected by HIV in Northern Ireland, we just need the political representatives to get back to work and do the job that we elected them to do. So on that note, can I just say thank you for your indulgence, and thank you for listening.